need you to wake up, Chandra.
There you go. Thank you very much. All right. Thank you, everyone, for attending. Thank you, Soraya, for accepting to do this training today. A little information about Soraya. Soraya's professional background is in education, having taught chemistry and science in Canada, England, and Trinidad. Soraya, did you travel to all these places?
Yeah, we lived in Peru too.
Oh, that's nice. She's actively involved in conflict resolution as a Texas credentiated advanced mediator certified to mediate civil, family, and elder matters, and has served as a judge at the University of Houston National Mediator Competition. As a strong advocate for community service, she supports the development of children at local charities and has also led projects for orphanages and skill centers for women in remote villages of Peru and the Amazon. Can you tell us a little bit about the Amazon?
Well, we lived there for 4 years in Peru, so I was involved in some community missions, especially for people way out in the Amazon, the women who don't have access to healthcare and skills. So part of my job as a community outreach person for the Canadian cohort there was to be involved in projects for them. It's pretty interesting experience. I did, you know, to get to the Amazon, you have to fly to Iquitos, take a boat down the Amazon, take a right at this corner, and we spent probably a couple of days at a lodge at the Amazon. It's pretty interesting.
Soraya earned her first DTM status with the Toastmasters in 2014, and then again in 2020. Over the last 10 years, she has served at both the club and district level in a range of roles, earning awards and accolades. She is vested in youth education, having conducted or assisted in more than 10 youth leadership programs. Soraya is the District 56 Youth Leadership Chair since 2019. Please help me welcome Distinguished Toastmaster, Soraya Mohammed.
Thank you so very much for that wonderful introduction, Chandra. And as you can see, for me, Toastmasters has been an international experience. And when we moved to Houston about 10 years ago, I knew that after joining Toastmasters in Peru, I had to stay with this group. And it has helped me to have a family of like-minded people who are so engaged in not just your own personal development, but more importantly, helping each other to grow and the community. So I have a little splash there of things that I have been my Toastmaster journey. But I'd actually, before we get started, just maybe if you guys could pipe in, introduce yourselves and say what's brought you here today. So if you want to unmute, and we can do like just a quick introduction of the more than a dozen people who are here.
I am Xenia Ship. I am one of the district training co-chairs, the club officer training co-chairs. I am now the DCP chair, and I'm a member of Pearland Toastmasters Young Professionals Southeast, Dining Out Toastmasters, and Master Evaluators. I'm here because I'm interested in learning more about Youth Gavel, and my husband has joined me because he also has an interest in what Youth Gavel clubs have to offer in the community.
Oh, that's wonderful. Great. Someone else?
My name is Kate Shi. I joined the Toastmaster when I was in Calgary, Canada for a few years. I heard who was from Canada, which city? You?
I was Ottawa and Toronto.
Ottawa, okay, it's probably colder in Ottawa. So Calgary, and then I moved to Houston in 2008. I became a DTM in 2019. I'm also interested in the youth leadership program. When I was visiting in 2016 in Canada, I took a friend's son to the youth leadership program. I think it was only 3 months program. I haven't heard, as you said, I haven't heard when the last few years when I'm in Houston, but I'm interested in finding out more.
Wonderful.
It was really going on really well in Calgary, the youth leadership program.
Yes.
Hopefully we'll have more people involved in the youth leadership program.
Excellent. Thank you so much.
Good morning. My name is Monique Lampkin. I'm an area director for M30. I've been a Toastmaster since 2003. I've done several things like you, and right now I'm working in education. I've been a substitute teacher in addition to several things I'm working on for 5 years. My mother is also a retired educator, and I just see the value of youth leadership. So I want to learn more about it. My futuristic goals, not right now, but in the future, is to help undergird this particular component of Toastmasters for our youth and to bring in future Toastmasters.
Excellent. Wow. So many like-minded and connections in all of us here.
Good morning. I am Luz Bobadilla. I am an area director. I'm a Toastmaster in 2 of the Spanish speaking clubs. I am not a DTM, but I am the mother of someone who has about 4 or 5 DTMs,
Wow.
Javier Flores.
Oh,
And I am interested in learning everything Toastmasters related so that I can help others. That is my
Oh.
purpose.
Thank you. We're honored to have you here. Many of us know Javier. He's dear and near to so many of us. Thank you.
Good
Good
morning.
morning.
Hello. Okay. Good morning. My name is Rama. I attend the BCS Professional Toastmasters Club in College Station, Texas. I'm the VP for membership. I'm trying to find how I can show my video. Oh yeah, here it goes. I have a 14-year-old, and there is no Gavel Club in our town.
I have to say something real quick,
So
then I'm gonna go back.
I would like to see if if that is something that can be done. I'm just listening in. So thank you.
Okay, thank you for coming.
Hi, I'm Valerie Coleman. I'm a member of West Pearland Toastmasters. My daughter is a member of Top Teens, and I'm just interested in what the Youth Leadership Program offers. Thank you.
Thank you.
Hi, good morning. My name is Jose Antonio Betancourt. I'm a member of Pensadores Northwest. I'm serving currently as Division N Director. I started Toastmasters in 2016, and I got my Legacy DTM in 2018. I'm happy to be here learning more about this youth program. Thank you.
Wonderful. Happy to have you here.
Hi, my name is Susan Ally, and I belong to the Southwest Project Management Toastmaster in Sugar Land. And like I said in the beginning, my daughter and I actually went to one of the Gavel Club here, and I forgot which school that was, but we had a lot of fun, and I just thought that it would be a good idea to know how to set up a club in Sugar Land.
Wonderful.
Well, I can go. My name is Missy Key, and I am in the Woodlands. I became a Toastmaster in 2010. I'm a member of Market Street Toastmasters and Spring Ahead Speakers. And I actually have a Gavel Club, but I can always learn more. Yes, but I can always learn more about Gavel Clubs. And I've not ever actually done a YLP. The district director at the time, Terry Pettyjohn, he actually started this as a YLP. He traveled, no kidding, he traveled from Galveston all the way to the Woodlands because he knew this is going to be the perfect place to eventually have a Gavel Club. And I'm just so indebted to him and his vision that Toastmasters gave him to do this. And he did that in the fall of 2016. And our club has been going on since 2017, January. And there are actually, somebody mentioned Sugarland. I know of a couple of Sugarland clubs. I have a contact, New Gen Leaders, Anu, and she has a nice club. Our club pre-pandemic was 22, and now we're about half that. But I'm happy to report she has asked us to come and train her club on evaluation techniques. So we are working on that, and we hope to join them virtually to do a training session. And I'm not intending to brag. I'm just saying, Gavel clubs are alive and well, and I'm just so surprised, to see myself doing this. I think we all have seen ourselves do things as Toastmasters that we just think, wow, I didn't know I could do that. And these kids are just amazing. But I have a special interest in YLPs because I've never done anything about that. So whatever I can learn today would be a benefit to my club. Thank you.
Thank you so much for sharing that. And I would say that Terry was the youth leadership chair before I took over after him. And he mentioned about this club. And I would love to chat with you because what happens is that Toastmasters does not publish the list of Gavel clubs. And so it has been like digging in a haystack to find out. I know Anu and VJ have helped them with setting up some of their things. But I would love it maybe after if we could chat a bit and I can get the contact information because so many people ask about where can I find a Gavel club, and I've been pointing them to the resources, and perhaps too you will be a valuable resource today for questions on Gavel clubs. Thank you so much for sharing.
Thank you.
Good morning. My name is Geneva Bradford. I'm a member of Young Professionals Southeast Toastmasters. I've been a member of Toastmasters since 2012. I've helped to charter several clubs. I'm interested in the Gavel Club because I want my grandsons to participate. And I wasn't sure whether or not the Pearland Gavel Club, which was homed at Pearland High School, was still active. So I'm interested in possibly starting one myself in the confines of my church once COVID has subsided. Thank you.
Thanks, Geneva.
Okay, I'm Paula Dunn, and the Pearland, almost all of the Gavel clubs have ended, like in Pearland and Friendswood. I'm still leading a club at the Reach Homeschool Co-op, but that's a closed club. And we've been going on for 6 years now. And the kids, whenever they're in other organizations, I get comments back from the instructors of how good they're speaking publicly. So I was really proud of that. And hopefully there's somebody called Anna, and she wants to start a Gavel club in Pearland, but she wants to keep it on Zoom. So that's all the information I have. Thanks.
Thanks, Paula. And again, at the end, if we could share information about which Gavel clubs are there, that would be very helpful.
Okay, thank you.
Thanks. Anyone else to introduce themselves?
Yes, good morning. My name is Toastmaster Tim Thompson. I'm a member of the Boeing Toastmasters Club. I have served almost every officer position. I've also been a charter member of the club as well. And just recently became a club sponsor of the Baytown Exxon Club that was chartered last month. And I am excited about the Gavel program. This is one of the programs since I've been a member I wanted to do. And so I am surrounded by kids. I'm also a top lady, as somebody mentioned, Top Teens, between Top Teens Church, and that's my age group that I work with. So I'm surrounded by young people. So I'm excited to start the club, and I'm ready to go. I just want to be here and get trained and make sure I'm doing it correctly. So thank you for having me.
Wonderful. Thank you. We're happy to have you here.
Good morning, everyone. My name is Cassie Brandley. My home club is McToasters, and I'm a part of Sweet Talkers and Dining Out Toastmasters. I'm excited to be a part of this call today because I actually volunteer with the youth all the time, and this is something that we're looking to do with the youth. Thank you for having me on.
Thank you.
Good morning, everyone. I'm Madhura, and I'm currently the member of Blue Frogs Toastmasters, and I'm serving as VP of Education. And I wanted to know more about the Gavel Club since I have a 13-year-old daughter whom I would like to enroll for the Gavel Club. And that is the reason I'm attending this meeting. Thank you so much.
Thank you, Madhura.
Yeah, thank you.
Good morning, all. My name is Queen. I'm a member of the staff for Talking Titans. I decided to sign up for this meeting because I see a lot of youths in my environment looking for a place where they can come practice their speaking skills. So I felt this will be a good opportunity for me to get information and to see how we can go about setting up a Gavel club in our area. Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Hi, my name is Roop Roy. I have conducted a youth leadership with a lot of help from Andy Paultanis last year, but ever since COVID, I finished the program and we wanted to convert to a Gavel club, but we haven't because of COVID. So I'm here to learn how to essentially start a Gavel club.
Thank you, Ruth.
Hi, everyone. My name is Shalah Ozen. I am a Club Growth Assistant, and I've had the privilege to work with Club Growth and to do a youth leadership with Andy Paulentis. What you're in for with the training today with Soraya, it's actually life-changing, and I'm so excited to see so many people want to help with the youth and with Gavel clubs. I'm excited for what you're going to learn and how it's going to change your life. Thank you.
Thank you, Shalah. Okay, is that a wrap now? Have we got everybody? Okay.
Vijay, Vijay, I think wants to say something.
Okay, great.
Yes, Soraya, do you want me to introduce myself now, or are you going to bring it on? Okay. Good morning, everyone. My name is Vijay Anand Thirunageshwaram. Some of you guys know me already. I've been an area director last year for Missouri City and 5 more clubs. And right now I'm a member of Missouri City Toastmasters. I've completed my DTM with the help of youth leadership training, which I conducted in 2019, which lead to start a Gavel club in Missouri City and Sugar Land. So we went through a lot of hiccups, but we finally have a club which is going to be celebrating its first anniversary by end of this month. We're so excited about it. We still have all the kids, 20 plus kids. Every month we are getting 1+ or 2+ kids asking to join. And I don't go to the meetings anymore. They are doing it all their own. And I'm so happy that it's happening. So I'm happy to share my experience. I'll leave it up to that for now. Thank you.
Thank you so much, Vijay. And I'm even more excited about the group that's here today, because what I'm hearing from you as you've introduced yourself is that we have so much experience, talent, and resource in this room. So I'm your facilitator today. I'll point you in to some information. We will talk. I'm looking forward, more importantly, to the Q&A section where we can share information, pose questions, and perhaps create a little group here that will be helpful as we move forward. So I think what I've gotten from everybody is that they want to learn about youth leadership. They're currently doing youth leadership. And what we plan to do today is to give an overview of the youth leadership program and Gavel clubs. Look at the resources. There are a lot of online ones. And more importantly, there's so much resource in this room. We'll have a Q&A. We are building community today, and we'll share contact information. So why youth leadership? Why do it? I think all of you have expressed why you want to do youth leadership. I think you see youths as the cornerstone and the building block to having a better society. And if we can instill that confidence and build that, as so many of you all are doing, I thought about Bitcoin the other day, and people said, oh, if you had invested $100 in Bitcoin maybe about 5 years ago, you'd be sitting on a pile of money right now. And I thought about that with youth leadership, and I thought, hey, if we invest just a little bit with our youth, what are the returns going to be later down the road? And as Toastmasters, we're the poster child of that experience. What if we had those communication and leadership skills and that confidence instilled to us early on in life? How might that have influenced us now? Would we be better at our jobs? Would we be better at our relationships with our significant others? with our children, because the gains we make from Toastmasters, it's not just one way. It affects us all around. So something to think about. Youth leadership with Toastmasters, as we have said, there are two avenues. There's the youth leadership program and there's Gavel clubs. What are they? Essentially, the youth leadership program is made up of 8 sessions. It's a structured program, but of course you can tailor that to the needs of the group. The Gavel clubs operate pretty much the same as a Toastmaster club, with the officers, the format of the meetings. They're termed Gavaliers. They're not called Toastmasters, and they use the traditional program. And I've heard some of you all talk about the traditional programs. So a lot of us have gone through that type of program where we use physical manuals, this competent communicator, the competent leader. That's the program that the Gavel clubs use. So let's look at a little overview of the type of program. So youth leadership. What do we need to think about if we'd like to get involved in a youth leadership program? We have to think about a sponsor, which is typically a Toastmaster club. How do we recruit participants? Do they come in as a request to the club, which has been my experience, or does someone want to conduct a youth leadership program, create a flyer, and get participants? So there are 2 avenues that happens. What's your time commitment for this? Where and when do you do it? What kind of materials do you need? How much does it cost? And what's in it for you in terms of credit? So let's look at that. A club has to sponsor a youth leadership program. Very importantly, there's no cost to the participants. And I want to emphasize that there's no cost, or no one should be making money from carrying out a youth leadership program. In terms of participants, I've done youth leaderships where there have been 8 to 10 people all the way up to 25. Toastmasters caps it at 25, so there's more meaningful type of interaction. Where does it happen? When? Typically on a weekend or after school, in person, and well, now it's basically online. In terms of the days when we did it with venues, there's sometimes little caveats with that in terms of documentation. If you're having it somewhere at Lone Star, which I know Shalah and Andy had done one, and I had done one with Andy at Lone Star, where you had to fill out certain documentation for that physical site. If it's done at a school or a church, there's less hoops to run through with that. What's your time commitment? Well, there are 8 sessions in a youth leadership program, and they run typically between 1 to 2 hours. So if you think about that, if you've got 8 sessions, you've got to cater between 8 to 16 hours. Prep time I've found for myself would vary from person to person, is that I've typically used about an hour of preparation time before a session. So let's just think about that. If you think about the 8 hours of preparation and approximately 16 hours of time you spend with the group, you're looking at 24 hours. 24 hours, aka 1 day out of 165 days to make such an impact in a child's life. So I found that thought when I did the math, and we say, oh, I don't know if I have time to do this. But when you look at it in the big picture and the effects that it has, wow, you think I could do this. What's in it for you? Well, apart from that satisfaction that you've made an impact. And as a Toastmaster, as a teacher, you're sometimes not aware of the impact you make on a child's life. I know in my years of teaching, I taught chemistry and science for about 15 years as we moved around the world. And even to this day, sometimes, I do a lot of traveling, and I'd be at the airport in Houston. And across the airport, I would hear somebody calling out to me, Miss Soraya, and I look around and I see this, and this has happened more than one occasion, this person, more times taller than me, with a family, children, coming up, telling me, oh, you taught me chemistry at this age. I'm a chemical engineer and I loved your classes and that motivated me. And she's there with her 2 kids. And you sometimes don't know the effect you have on an individual. So Toastmasters, your role is so important. What do you get out of it in terms of documentation? With Pathways now, for your DTM, there's a section saying, either you're a club sponsor or you've done the speechcraft or youth leadership. So it is a component to get your DTM status. Let's look at the materials. What kind of materials do you need? There are a couple of items and I've listed them there. You can find them all on the Toastmasters store and approximate costs that are there. There's a coordinator guide that goes through step by step per session what's required, and it matches well with the participant workbook. More, of course, you have to have certificates for the participants. And it's very interesting as the participants apply for universities or jobs, that certificate, that Toastmaster certificate is quite important. And Toastmasters is an international reputable organization. So that's really, you're building on that child's resume. You can get lots of different items, icebreaker, ribbons, little bits of paraphernalia. The youth leadership packet is an effective way to order something that's around $17. You get a guide, a certificate for the facilitator, participant workbooks, evaluation forms. In our experience, about $100 would cover the cost for running a youth leadership for about 25 participants. This excludes in the days when we met in person, we typically would have something like a pizza party at the end or some sort of celebration. And that often came from the club or parents or whoever would like to contribute. What is the program, the Youth Leadership Program? Well, as I said before, it's 8 sessions and it covers a range of topics. So the modules run like this. There's an introduction to chairmanship where the participants learn about parliamentary proceedings, Robert's Rules of Law. If we've been looking at the television and all the trials of the Senate and you hear people making motions, they actually learn to make some motions and get a bit of understanding about how parliamentary procedures work. There's an introduction to public speaking. They learn about impromptu speaking, table topics, organizing their speech, cueing to listening techniques, use of gestures, their voice, and at the very end, there's a showcase where they show their skills. Now, throughout all of this, there are 3 roles that we try to elect, that are elected. There's a president who serves as the Toastmaster, the vice president who serves as a timer, and a secretary who keeps the records. Halfway through the program, you re-elect so that more people would have an opportunity to serve those roles. And I found that the program is flexible. I recently did a youth leadership program where there were 8 girls, high school girls who came from a refugee type environment. And I actually rotated it so that every one of them, every 2 sessions, we switched roles so that everybody had an opportunity to have a leadership role. And that did a lot for their confidence. It's important to have an agenda for every meeting. I've attached just a sample of an agenda that I've used because it's critical that we have structure and we teach time management and accountability through an agenda. At the very end of a youth leadership program, I've always tended to use an evaluation of the program. Now, in the handbook, there is some evaluation. The participants halfway through evaluate themselves and their progress. And at the end, there's a sort of a checklist, little bit of evaluation. I've often, even my years of teaching, always created an evaluation of a program so that it not only helps the students and participants to put down what they've chronicled, what they've learned, set goals for the future, but it's a teaching instrument for myself. How have I done as a facilitator of a program? What could I improve on? And so over the years, it has helped me to tweak my techniques and add more information. Let's look at Gavel clubs. And I'm so thrilled that I have not run a Gavel club myself. And I'm so thrilled that there's so many people, like I've counted at least 3 different people here who can speak to Gavel clubs. If you clicked on the Toastmaster International website, this is probably what you would see, a little description about Gavel clubs and some of the information that's necessary. Gavel clubs are not just for youth. They're pretty much for any group that wants to establish a club that can't be chartered as a typical Toastmaster club. So for example, they're pretty popular in the prisons because those participants are not able to charter as a regular Toastmaster club as we know it. There has to be an approval or endorsement of a host institution, a Toastmaster club, and maybe VJ and the others later in the Q&A can speak to this, if it can also be another institution who just wants to sponsor Gavel Club apart from a Toastmaster club sponsoring it. The counselor has to be a Toastmaster, who is the sage on the side, pretty much as VJ and our friend from the Woodlands has been doing. Gavel clubs must use the program, procedures, materials of Toastmasters International. To establish a Gavel club, you have to apply to Toastmasters for certificates of affiliation, which is the paperwork that you need to do. You have to have a minimum of 3 members to qualify for that certification and for your yearly renewal. Those 3 members have to fill the president post, the secretary, and 1 VP position, VPE, VPM, VPPR. On certification, the club gets a Gavel Club charter packet, which seems pretty nice. You get training materials, CCCM manuals, the Gavel evaluation forms. This is what they've said on paper. You know, later on, the people who have run Gavel clubs can attest as to what the loot you get to help you with. What's the paperwork to do this? Well, I had emailed Toastmasters International, new clubs, and they sent me a 24-page document that covers all the certification requirements. So there's a request for certification. I've put the items down if you had to go to the store and look at it. You have to include the club and officer information, the club constitution, and the contact information for whoever the president of the club is going to be, the secretary, the counselor who is going to be assisting, and the Toastmaster sponsoring organization. In terms of fees, there's a one-time certification fee of $50 and an annual club fee that's due, according to the information they provided, November 1st of $48. And I believe if you start somewhere in the year, that those fees are prorated. Some materials that you would need would be club materials, recognition materials, training materials. And a great resource too is to email newclubs@toastmasters.org. They're very prompt in replying, or if you leave them a message, I've found them to be very helpful. So that's a quick snapshot of youth leadership and Gavel clubs. Here are some of my thoughts. If you're thinking of going either way, a youth leadership program is an 8-session workshop. A Gavel club functions pretty much like a Toastmaster club. In my opinion, and this is just my opinion, I think youth leadership programs are foundational because they provide a platform and a framework that can be very useful when you have to transition into a Gavel club. Because the students already, the participants already have an idea what it is like to chair a meeting. They have an introduction to table topics. They can be mentors for new people coming into your Gavel club. So if I had to make a recommendation, and it's not a requirement for a Gavel club, but I do think it's a great foundation. In terms of your time commitment, a youth leadership is a finite process. It's 8 sessions, finite. A Gavel Club is more sustained because it's ongoing. Vijay has just said, wow, he set it up so well. The kids are running it themselves now. So that's quite interesting. And I do believe if a counselor, the facilitator of the Gavel Club, is not able to, that can be changed out by simply informing Toastmasters International. Youth leadership programs, they create a spark. They're a snapshot. Whereas Gavel Clubs, you'll have that spark continually stay ignited. They provide sustained development. So that's a quick overview of youth leadership and Gavel Clubs. I put some resources down here that you can see. There's a international website, Toastmasters Houston. Andy has started a blog that I think Shalah and I were supposed to be helping to edit also, and he put it on hold. But there's a wonderful resource out there for you in terms of that blog. Andy goes by, he starts off that we've used typically in our youth leaderships, a little video on Steve Jobs talking about failure, and he puts quite a lot of resources. There are some other blogs by Toastmaster youth programs. They give some information on youth leadership and on Gavel Clubs. District 42 has some great training videos on YouTube. Contact information for the district is there. And of course, we've used the icebreaker format to help formulate our speech development. So let's, I think, go to the more cogent part of the program, which would be our Q&A session, because I'm sure you have questions and you have thoughts or information that you'd like to share. Now, I don't know if Anu is here. I know her daughter had a belt test this morning. And as I told her, I said, hey, we are parents first and foremost before we are community people. So I know Vijay is here. We have someone who was there from the Woodlands. I didn't quite catch your name. Shalah has also done a youth leadership. And in fact, anyone who has had experience and would like to jump in as questions are posed, please do so. So I'm going to open up the floor. Let's have a Q&A sort of session in the remaining time that we have available.
I'm sorry, I just want to jump in and just share my experience and how I got into it and what intrigued me and where we are right now. So that way it can help them with some question and answers.
That'd be wonderful, Vijay. Take it away.
Okay, so for some of you, I just want to give a brief introduction about myself. I've been in Toastmasters for almost 20 years now. It's 2001, so 20 years, yes, I'm proud of it. And for the last 20 years, I've been struggling to get a DTM. And I finally got the urge to finish it last year because they said last year is the last year to do the final run for the old program. So I got the urge to move on, and I was encouraged to do the project, and I was trying to find an exact project which I can use it for the DTM final project. And I was going through all around, and finally, and Keith Romaine, many of you guys know, maybe know Keith, he suggested, why don't you do youth leadership? And Jobby was planning to do a youth leadership with the church, but it didn't work out. So I was talking to Jobby Johnson, who is also a member of Missouri City Toastmasters, and talking to them, what is the effort needed, what all needed, and I was so scared, meaning I love to work with kids because I'm a Cub Master. I'm a Cub Master for a troop, for a PAC 1647 in Missouri City. So I love to work with kids, but at the same time, Toastmaster with the kids and making them disciplined, that's going to be a tough task. So I said, is it going to work out? So then Keith kind of pushed me along. So we did put an advertisement in nextdoor.com to see the interest in the community. And I was bombarded with so much request. And we have to put a lot of kids in the waiting list because only you can do 20 kids for one program. So we had to say no to many kids. And we started the youth leadership last November, and we did it for 8 weeks, every week continuously with the help of my Missouri City Toastmaster Club, with the help of Maria, Jobby Johnson, Keith Romaine, gives them opportunity for the members from that club to come and give a speech, like James Malliott, all those people who came to help me out for every week. In every week, there is a material which, as a Toastmaster, we present to the club, to the kids, on how to organize a speech, how to do a perseverance speech. So touching those points, as a Toastmaster, we emphasize from our experience, and they learn from it, and then they start using it in that week period. And it was a great success. And during the closer of that 8-week period, I was asked, are we going to end it, or we have any chance of continuing it, or we are going to have another session? So many questions from the parents and from other kids who couldn't able to participate. So I thought, okay, let's try to see whether there's enough interest to do a Gavel Club. And we had a interest meeting, and we had almost 10 to 15 parents show up. We formed a group. We formed a parents committee, and then started working on it. I myself started working on researching more about the Gavel Club with the help of few of the people, and also our Toastmaster headquarters were really helpful in getting back to me on all the questions I needed. So we started that in January, and finally we got it all certified by February. We had our first meeting. We invited Romana, our international speech winner, for our first inauguration meeting. We started the club in last March. And right now, we had a second set of officers who took over 2 months ago. Both my kids were 14 and 10, started the youth leadership, and now they are in the club. My son is now the president of the club. He was the VPE, and now he's the president. And I'm so proud of that. Right now, my younger one is actually signed up to do an orator competition in there's an organization called High Level, similar to Come On. They do competition every year. This year they're doing an orator competition, and he signed up to do an orator competition because he's doing it as a Gavel Club member. It's like, it's a breeze for me, I'll do it. So he's just 11 years old, and he wrote the whole speech himself, and he's training for, actually they have a workshop today in 3 o'clock, and he's training for it all 2-3 days. And I'm like, when I was 11, I couldn't even imagine I was doing that. So Toastmaster Gavel Club has given him confidence to do that. I'm so happy that I made that, bringing the youth leadership and Gavel Club to these kids, and that's the satisfaction you get, to see these kids go up to the stage and spark. So I'm delighted, and it's going on well, and we had 4 new kids joined 2 months ago. I think we are right now at 24, and it's going strong. So, thank you.
PJ, thank you so much for sharing that message. That's very inspirational, and especially just hearing that spark that your 10-year-old, I mean, many of us can't, as you said, can't imagine that at that age we would have that confidence to say, hey, I'm going to take part in an orator competition. It's hard to get even adults to speak for 2 minutes on a Toastmaster club. So kudos to that. And this is exactly, I think, what so many of us want to have to achieve with our youths. Okay, so questions. Let's have your questions or comments.
Yes, Soraya, I'll help manage the chat for you. So we have a question that was submitted by Area Director Monique Lampkin. Her first question is, are volunteers in youth leadership required to get background checked?
That's a good question. The volunteers are going to be, in the youth leadership, the volunteers most likely will be the Toastmasters from your sponsored club. So you know those Toastmasters who in that club, so we don't require any background checks. Once the Gavel Club starts, the Gavel Club members are the kids and the parents are also in part of the committee. They have to fill out the form. We have all the information about the parents. If we were physically meeting, we don't have any background checks done, but as parents, their kids are involved. So we feel that since their kids are in the club, we feel that that's one of the ways that all the other kids will be safe, because their kids also in the club and they will make sure that other kids are also safe enough. So
thanks, Vijay. And you know, I think that question's such a valuable question. And this is why these forums are great. And it's added another layer of thought. And I don't think background checks are required, but by Toastmasters, and I don't want to say yes or no, because that's something I truly don't know the answer to, but would like to ask about it. But putting as a parent hat, and I'm a grandmother now, putting like that hat on, I'm just thinking that that might be something that could be some of the rules of a group that might say, hey, if a volunteer has to come, we might request a background check. So I would think there's flexibility on whoever's having that program or a Gavel Club might ask that. So, but that would be something for us to find out from Toastmasters International. Is it required? And also for whoever the group that's forming the Gavel Club or the youth leadership program, is that required by that group and not Toastmasters? So I know we did like one in a school. Andy and I had done one about 2 years ago, and we had to provide information, quite a bit of information to the school. So they had their checks and balances. So great question and food for thought.
To add to that point, Soraya, that is the main reason Toastmasters International doesn't produce the list of all the Gavel clubs.
Yes.
It is hidden. It is not for any public to see where are the clubs, because to protect the privacy of the kids and the parents, nobody can go and find it in their website or anything. Even I couldn't able to. I was struggling to get the list, and they said, no, we are not giving you the list.
Yes.
End of the story.
Yes, I totally get that, because even as the youth leadership chair or the admin manager, I could not get the list. And so this is now, I mean, I've gotten information, and like I've got information about different clubs that I can point people to, but this is very important. So I would say too that I think it's so valuable now, though, that that question has been posed in light of security, that it could be like when people start meeting back in person, that could be something that people might require also. Yeah.
Okay, and we'll go to the next question. Also, just one last thought. For the youth leadership that I was a part of, also with Andy Paulentis, the parents were there. There are a few parents that left, but the parents were actually sitting in the back of the room. So the parents were there with their children. That's the best thing I want everyone to know, because I don't want to assume anyone knows that parents also can attend and watch. Okay, so the next question that Monique had, and then we're going to look at the questions that other people have, was, can we conduct youth leadership with at-risk groups in juvenile homes, teen mothers, specific population shelters for homeless?
Okay, so youth leadership has to be for participants who are 18 and under. There's no restriction as to where it has to be done. I mean, I've done stuff with immigrant populations. So there's no restriction at all at where, but the stipulation is that the age is 18 and under.
That's right. And I've heard they had done gavel clubs in the Jonial, in the prison, like the prison Toastmasters we used to have. I've heard Toastmasters in prison, clubs in prison, things you can have, as long as it can be sponsored by other Toastmaster club, you can open up the gavel club.
Yeah, so gavel clubs, that's right, Vijay. So gavel clubs can be run in prisons for, as I had mentioned earlier, for anybody who's 18 and over. So gavel clubs are not just for youth, they're for any group that can't formalize or charter as a regular Toastmaster club.
Okay, now Monique, the last question that you had about where specifically gavel clubs are going to be, if you want to write around after the meeting, that's when they were kind of talking about that question during the meeting. It's not necessarily listed, but you can speak to Soraya about gavel clubs. We know that Kim, you have a question. Would you like to address your question now? Thank you for waiting. Uh-oh. Kim, we can't hear you.
Sorry, I think my mic was active on that speaker. I'm sorry. So you said the age is 18 and younger. What is the youngest age? That's question number one.
Yeah. So with your youth leadership, I'll take it from the youth leadership standpoint, and then anyone who else is, maybe VJ or someone else can take it from the gavel club standpoint. With the youth leadership, the youngest that I have done a youth leadership program was with kids who were about 10 years old, 9 and 10 years old. And we had to modify that program because one, the attention span is a little bit different, and what you can accomplish, the degree to which you can accomplish some of the goals is going to be different. So grade 4 or 5, we've done youth leadership programs in that domain. They're a little bit more challenging, but we've done programs, from my standpoint, that might be the youngest that I would go to for a youth leadership program. Gavel clubs, I'm not quite sure.
So if you do younger, is it better to keep elementary school age together?
Absolutely.
You don't have to. For our club, we have kids from 5th grade to 10th grade. So younger than that, like 10 years old, 9 years old, they did participate in the youth leadership training, but we found that they are a different wavelength than the kids in the middle school and the high school. They tend to talk a lot.
Yes. This is very true. The attention span is a lot different. So if you're running a youth leadership program, I would say try to keep it as homogeneous as possible in terms of your age ranges. I would keep elementary kids for youth leadership together, middle schoolers, high schoolers different, because you can operate at a more efficient and productive pace for the group, so they can get a little bit more out of it. If you've got those ranges for youth leadership program, it's going to take away, because you've got a finite time. You have 1 hour, 8 sessions, and you want to be able to maximize what the participants get out of it.
And I have 2 more questions. And as far as the curriculum, because to me, the website does not have a lot of information about youth leadership. It points you to the manual, but then it says that we're trying to produce these manuals and documents as much as possible. So is there something online as far as the curriculum, how the agenda should go, that we can pull? Or do we have to continue to recreate this individually as we put together these programs?
No, I think there are enough materials for youth leadership program on the website. And also there's a manual for the person who is putting together the youth leadership You can order that through the club. Your club can help you to get that material for you. That way you don't have to go through that. So the club can usually help you to do those materials, and there's enough materials for the youth leadership. For the Gavel Club.
Right, but on the website, it keeps saying that these items are not readily as available, I'm assuming because of the pandemic. So if you can't order them from the site, how do you get them is what my real question is.
Okay. I have some materials. If somebody wants to take it and copy it over, we can bring it all together and help us each other, because of the pandemic and whatnot. And we can also scan it and put it on maybe Soraya can help us put it on the website and people can use that material, print it out.
Yeah. I would check before I do that, I would check with Toastmasters to see if there are any copyright issues with that in terms of scanning materials. Like you, I have a couple of youth leadership participant manuals. I'd be happy to give one.
Yeah, I have some, they're old, it doesn't have the new logo on it. So I didn't know if it was okay. I didn't know how the curriculum has changed, how much it's changed.
No.
So like I have like the original ones. I have those.
No, I think they've just rebranded some new photographs. Okay. It's pretty much the same because I have some of the original ones from when I did my first leadership about more than 10 years ago. And it's pretty much the same as the new material. But like VJ, for any of you, I have a couple of manuals that I would be happy to give to any of you who would like to look at the program if you're not able to get them on the website at this time.
And I have one more question. So
one second, Kim. Kim, real quick. Really quick. Sorry about that.
I'm sorry.
We're going to take all questions, but to respect everyone's time, right? This meeting is still till 12 o'clock. You're most welcome to stay to hear those questions and answers. But if you can go to your chat window and click on the link and give your feedback to the survey, that would be wonderful. Please do that. If you have to leave at 12 o'clock, please do so. And then, Soraya will be here to answer your questions. Vijay will be here too. So we can continue with the meeting. Go ahead, Kim.
And Chandra, I'm just going to put the contact information up there for the district that they'd come to me. So if people have not had an opportunity, if they've had to leave and they have a question, please email and we'll try to address all your questions also.
Thank you, Soraya. Kim, go ahead. You have another
question? So my last question, because I'm ready to get started. So do I need to fill out a form or let you know that I'm going to do this program, or I guess tell us what are the next steps?
So typically, if anyone's starting a youth leadership or doing or Gavel Club or doing anything in the realm, we'd like to be able, just let us know what you're doing, and we're also here to offer any support that that you might want, or for you to know that there's support available. But yes, we do require that you just at least let us know that you're starting a youth leadership program or a Gavel Club.
And more directly, everyone that's here, since you did register for it, just make sure that we do have your correct email address. Immediately after this session, we will send out an email that has another link. On that link, you'll click on it. You can put your information, and on that, you will state that you would like to do either a youth leadership or a Gavel Club. And then that information will be sent to Soraya so she can contact you. So on it, you will get a form and you will fill out this survey. There's two surveys. One is for the survey to let us know how was the training, how did that work? And we have another survey that we use for our sponsors, mentors, coaches, everything club growth. We also now have a section that shows for youth leadership and for Gavel clubs. Please fill that out, and then you can state on it if you would like to start or work with the Gavel clubs or start and work with the youth leadership, and we will contact you. Again, we will make it easy and send it to everyone on this call. Thank you.
There's one more question, Soraya, from Kiana. Are pathways provided for youth Gavel if you pay the $20?
Sorry, Chandra, could you repeat that question?
So her question is, can they use pathways if they pay $20 for the pathways?
pathways.
No,
instead
not
of
for,
the,
not, the curriculum
Not-
is, the
no.
curriculum is only the older curriculum. We cannot use the pathways. So the pathways is only for Toastmasters. For the Gavel clubs, we have to use the traditional material with the communicator CC and CL, and then you have to go through those 10 different 5 set of speeches. Pathways is not.
BJ, this is Kiana. Quick question. Once the Gavel Club is chartered, does the system behave the same way with regards to logging into Toastmasters International?
No, they cannot, they don't have any membership. They don't have any membership status. They cannot get into TI's site at all. The membership is only your group. You are maintaining the membership. And that's about it. TI doesn't know anything about the membership of your club, Gavel Club.
Yeah.
And they cannot get into the TI website, nothing.
Yeah, please remember everyone is below 18 years, so we do not want to publish the names or age or address. So that is not accessible anywhere, not on the website. It's completely hidden. Okay.
Yeah.
And if you have to keep those things, please do not share with anyone. Okay. Because, anybody under age 18, we don't want them on the websites.
Right.
With that, that concludes our training. And Soraya and Vijay, it's awesome. This is a great training. I think this is the first virtual youth leadership Gavel Club training. We recorded this, so the recording will be available online. And then I know there's some people ask me for the recording. They're going to receive this. So if you have any questions, please send those questions to Vijay and Soraya. So they're going to get back to you the information. And also, if you are planning to start a Gavel Club, please let me know so we can support you on setting up those Gavel clubs in the youth leadership. With that, thank you everyone for joining today. It's an awesome presentation. Soraya, Vijay, thank you very much. This is really a great training. Thank you very much, everyone. Have a wonderful day.
Everyone, thank you.
Bye.